So the slide toppers on our 20-year-old RV here just aren't working very well. You know, it is 20 years old, but I'm going to try to fix it. But first, let me show you what it's doing and see if you can figure out the problem. So yeah, a lot of movement in the end of those roller tubes on the slide toppers, and it's not just that one there, it's on all of them. So we have a bedroom slide and then this main slide, but that one right there is the worst of them all. Look at that. We'll take it down, disassemble it, and we'll take a closer look. Remove this billowing thing. There we go. Okay, I got loosened up just a little bit. And there's a rivet back here. Okay, get out of there. There we go. There we go. Okay. There you go. There's one side. Alrighty. All right, well, now that we got it all clamped up, we need to untension this spring here. But yeah, you can see that there's the original sticker and it's got the model number and looks like it, yeah, it's Dometic made, and yeah, July 25th, 2002 is the date on here. So yeah, 22-year-old slide topper. All right, so I'm gonna just go ahead and unroll this and we can get the cap off. Put on some gloves and I'm gonna remove this. And if you're wondering what this is, it's just actually it's just a piece of wire. It's thicker wire that you might see in like holding insulation in and like your subfloor or your your joists. But yeah, I just bent it up so I can use it as a locking wire here to keep this roller still. So I'm just gonna loosen the tension here this way. Pull that out. And this is the left-hand side, so I'm gonna unwind it counterclockwise. And we just gotta remember when we wind it up that the left-hand side we're gonna wind up clockwise and it's opposite on the other end. So this isn't too tight. I'm just going to keep track of how many rotations. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's probably 12, 11, 12. So there we go. All the tension's off, and now I can just drill out these rivets, and we can remove the spring assembly. All right, now we'll do the same thing on the right-hand side, and I'm just writing like R and L here just so I know that this is the right side. I don't know if it really matters, but I just want to keep it straight. All right, well now with the spring off, we can see what the problem is. If we take a look at this end cap here. So we got this spacer, it sits over here between this little arm and the end cap for the roller tube. And if you look at where this rod goes through here, it should be just aligned right here at the top, should be a nice little circle, but you can see here on the bottom that has really worn out. So over the years, it has worn another groove down there and kind of made like an oval. So as it spins, puts tension on, then it goes boop, and it jumps to this side, and then it keeps rolling, and then it jumps to that side. So yeah, it's just worn out this end cap. It's just going to continually jump around. No good. It's clear that the problem is being caused by this end cap just getting worn out over 20 plus years. This is the worst of all of them, which is why I probably noticed this one first, but they all have similar wear patterns, just maybe not as extreme as this one. But over the years, it just keeps wobbling. This, that rod can't stay centered in here, so it jumps around a lot. And not only does it look like it's not working right, it's also potentially damaging the side of the RV because it's jumping around. It shouldn't be making contact with the side of the RV, but it is. The problem is you can't just buy this end cap anymore. You can't really find it. It's an old model. This is an A&E awning that's manufactured by Dometic, and you might be able to find it used, but it's very difficult. But yeah, you can't just go out and buy one of these end caps, and maybe you could find like the whole spring assembly somewhere, but you gotta make sure you get the right color, and they run about $100 a piece. So for me to replace all 4 of them, it would be about what, $400 or so. And the other option is to get a whole new slide topper assembly, which, those run about what, $350 to $500 or more dollars. And this really long one, I'm not sure how much that would be. So I'm going to try to fix this, and I'm not the only one. I know there have been a couple other folks that have come up with their own kind of DIY fix. I found a couple posts on some RV forums that folks had basically put something over this, maybe either welded it or screwed it down to basically center that hole again, and that should fix the problem. So that's the approach I'm going to take. What I'm going to do is use some washers, which is what some of these other folks have done. I'm going to take a slightly different approach, but let me show you how that's going to work. So here's what we're going to do. If you look at the top of the end cap here, this is where the rod goes through, and what we want to do is close that in, and we can use a couple of washers for that. I'm going to go with some fender washers that I have. So these are like 1.5 inch by it's like a 1/4 inch hole, but it's really like a 5/16 hole. So that's big enough to fit the rod in just right, just like that. Okay. So we want to get that on top of the hole, but the issue we have here is we have this little center area which is raised just a little bit. So I'm going to use 2 of these fender washers here, and I'm going to put the one on the bottom that's going to have a larger diameter hole, and it's going to be about a 3/4 hole. So I've already made a couple templates here, and if we slide this one over, it sits nice and flush over this opening where this that spacer is going to rub against that, and then from there we can attach the outer one, which will give us the right size on that opening. And then we can screw these down and use some epoxy to kind of hold it all together. So let's make a couple of these. So I got my fender washers here. Like I said, these are 1.5 inch and 1/4 inch opening. It's basically for a 1/4 inch bolt. So I'm just going to use 2 of those for each side. Now I'm going to have to make a few of these, so I went ahead and made this this little template that's going to speed up the process. Just going to center that there. I'm going to get this screw, this little washer here. There we go. Okay, there we go. So now we got to make one of these. Let's start with drilling the holes. Start with a blank one. This is the one we just cut. What I'm going to do here is just put a line here on the end because I want to make sure that it all lines up when we're done. So just going to draw a little black line there so we know where alignment is going to be. So in order to cut this larger hole to be this size, which is about 3/4 inch, you're gonna have to either clamp this really good in a vise and then use a stepped bit. Probably is gonna work the best. That's what I'm gonna use. But I'm gonna go ahead and screw it down to here, then I'm gonna use my drill press to do this. Okay. Clean this up, make sure it's nice and flat, get rid of any rough edges. I'm going to drill some pilot holes for some screws that are going to hold this down, but I want to be very careful where I put them. See these, the this little cutout here and this on the same side, or on the other side as well. I want to make sure that the screws aren't going to be blocking that opening, because that's where my little locking pin is going to go when I have to do the fabric and all that stuff. So I want to make sure that these are offset. So let's, actually my little black mark here lines right up with that. Let's start with this one. I'm just getting these in here so they just get the threads tapped out in there. Okay. All right, so now when I line this up and put it back, it should line up just right. I'm going to take a dry erase marker and just make a spot right there, just so I know where that's going to all line up. So we've got some good JV Weld epoxy here, and we're going to attach these two washers together. And then we're going to use some putty, some epoxy putty. Where is it? Oh yeah. This stuff here, and we're going to use that to put a little bit on the top of this on this end cap, and then we'll screw everything down and let it cure. Now I'll just line this up wherever my line is. Where is it? There it is my dot. We should see the putty kind of start squeezing out on the bottom when we do this. And then I'm going to put a little bit of this putty in this hole. It's kind of hard to see, I apologize. See what we're doing here? It's my idea anyway, to kind of fill in this hole like that. I can still get something in here. And then when I pull this out, I should have a nice hole. Okay, there we go. All right, well here's the new end cap. Looks pretty good, nice fresh paint. Now one thing I had to do was to reshape the spacer here that goes on top of this, because we have these screws now, and with the full diameter of this spacer, it kind of sits on top of the screws like that. So essentially I just kind of reshaped one end of it so that it sits nicely inside here and can spin. So yeah, just using my my drill press. You can use this with a regular drill, but I just slipped this over a I think it's a 5/8 bolt, and then tighten it down, and then I was able to take a chisel and just kind of slowly carve away at the edges of this until I got this nice bevel on the end. So yeah, sits nicely now inside those screws, and now we can go ahead and put this whole thing back together. Let's start with the left side. Alright. Line up the holes here. Put them in. right. All right. Well, I always enjoy now when I get to use my new rivet tool attachment for my drill. I used to just dread putting rivets in. It's just harder on the wrist, but this has been great. I'll drop a link in case you want to check it out, but yeah, it makes it a whole lot easier and it's really cheap. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, I got the roller tube put back together. It's functioning, rolling just like it's supposed to. Now we are waiting on some new slide topper fabric and a whole new awning fabric replacement from Tough Top Awning. So that should arrive soon, and then we'll get this whole setup put back together with some new fabric. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll get them answered. But I hope this helped you out, give you some ideas in case you experience this problem. And yeah, let me know what you think. Talk to you later.